Part 111. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 1101. Chapter 1101. Is Nuanuan still alive? Don't suppress yourself because of their deliberate protection. Go find Nuan. Go in person. This is equivalent to Yuan Ran encouraging Ye Weiwei not to stay here, but to let her find her third daughter by herself. Everyone tells you that you should cheer up and take good care of Qingfeng and Zhiruo while looking for Nuan. But you know that Nuan is the one you need to worry about most, so you might as well let her go if you use the child as an excuse to keep you. If you go find someone, you might feel more at ease. Yuan Ran chose a different approach from others. Others were worried about Yayowei's physical and mental problems, so they forced her to stay here with the excuse that the eldest and second child need to be taken care of. Yes, only focus is on her third daughter. After all, the eldest and second eldest children are now safe and sound by her side, but the life or death of the third daughter is unknown. Xiao Li, don't doubt whether you are fulfilling your responsibilities. You have to know that giving birth to a child is like going to hell, but you persevered to let 3 babies be born safely. No one can question this. You are amazing. Yuan Ran's voice was clear and cool, like a ray of breeze blowing into the only restless heart of the night. At this moment, her mood became stable. Yayowei entrusted her 2 children to her and told her, "En Ran, you will also have children of your own, and the world will be gentle to kind people." After Yewei made up his mind, he gathered himself together and no longer had the lifeless feeling before. She had been paying close attention to the news, and now she went directly to meet Yezikin. When Yezikin saw her, he frowned. "Why are you here?" "I want to find someone with you." "Nonsense, didn't I ask you to take care of Qingfeng and Zhiruo?" "Brother, I am very sensible now. You don't need to worry about what else I will do. I just want to find Nuan. The 2 of them faced each other, neither one avoiding the other's gaze. Yewei's eyes were full of determination, which made Yezikin unable to refuse. He reached out and touched her head, his habitual movements carrying a special comfort. "Okay, let's find Nuan together." The 2 of them nodded to each other, understanding each other. Coincidentally, news came from Gongqinli's police station website. "Brother Chen, there is news. Our people have discovered suspicious movements in East District 1. As soon as the news came out, Yezikin immediately sent people to the East District 1 to investigate. He and Yewei rushed to East District 1 at the same time. On the way, they received accurate news from the people staying in East District 1, along with a profile photo. That photo is a profile of a middle-aged man. His gesture is upright, as if he is holding something. This person is it? It is indeed a cold night? Ye Weiwei confirmed his thoughts. It seems that we are looking in the right direction. They asked for follow-up, and there was another news. Ye Hantian showed up at the hospital, and he seemed to be carrying a child. After Yayowei learned the news, he regained his senses and was instantly overwhelmed. Ye Weiwei started to worry again. Why did he take Nuan to the hospital? Is Nuan sick? Yezikin could only comfort her. "Xiao Li, Nuan is fine. Don't think too much. Our daughter is fine. She is alive and well." Ye Weiwei shook his head and said to himself, Nuan is not in good health. What should I do? Nuan can't stand the torment. Arrive. Miracle Nuan, why do you take Nuan to the hospital on a cold night? End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 1102. Chapter 1102. I will strangle her to death. Arrived in front of the hospital, I couldn't wait to open the car door and rush out. There is someone outside to help. She grabbed the man and asked hurriedly, "Where is it? Where is my daughter?" He entered the hospital and never came out again. Our people didn't dare to alert the snake. Look for it, you must find it. Their people almost surrounded the entire hospital, but there were a lot of people coming and going, so we needed to be very careful. Assign people to search every floor. They can't make a big show of it, they can only pretend. But they almost turned the hospital upside down but could not find any trace of Yahantian, let alone Mo Xiang Nguyen's condition. Why did he take Nguyen Nguyen away? Why did he come out? Until they interrogated a pediatrician, the doctor told them, I have seen this man in the photo. He came to seek medical treatment holding a baby. I got some news from the doctor. Yahantian took the baby girl to see a doctor. The doctor didn't know the baby's condition very well. He only knew that the baby made no movement from beginning to end. He was originally going to take over the treatment, but the man suddenly left with the baby. So now, Yahantian has disappeared again. This surprised Yezikin. He didn't expect that Yahantian was so capable and could escape under the eyes of so many people. However, since we know he is nearby, we must not go far. Yezikin was sitting in the car controlling the computer information network, with a serious expression and his eyes unmoving for a moment. Finally, found it? The ultimate target is the community near the airport. On the way there, various speculations flashed through their minds, but they were all denied by the scene they saw with their own eyes. They had many concerns before rushing to the community, and even thought that such a shrewd person as Yahantian might have slippery feet again, but no. When they found Yahantian, they saw Yahantian holding a baby girl in his arms and trying to breastfeed her. Neither Yezikin nor Ye Weiwei expected this scene. You don't need to look closely to confirm that it must be their third daughter, Mo Xiang Nguyen. Warm. Ye Weiwei was the first to rush to Yahantian, but he didn't dare to make a move easily because Yahantian's eyes were too mysterious and unpredictable, and he couldn't guess what he was thinking. Ye Weiwei stared at Yahantian closely, his hands trembling. Give me my daughter. Her words contained a request. Yahantian glanced at her and handed the baby out without saying a word. Ye Weiwei quickly took her daughter back and weighed her soft body. Her mood was extremely complicated. But just when she was about to relax, Yahantian suddenly regretted it and snatched the baby away from her arms. Ye Weiwei was so protective of her daughter. She held her daughter carefully, so Yahantian easily snatched the baby back. Yahantian held the child in one hand and raised his other hand to block the front. Don't move, any of you. Yezikin frowned deeply and his face looked extremely ugly. Yahantian was the first to point the finger at him. Get out. Yahantian knew that his son was not easy to deal with, and if he wasn't careful, he might plot to turn the situation around. Fortunately, he holds Mo Xiang Nguyen's lifeline in his hands, which is his biggest trump card. Get out or I'll strangle her to death. As soon as Yahantian spoke, Ye Weiwei's eyes flickered back and forth between them, looking nervous. Yezikin stepped back step by step with a cold face. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1103. Chapter 1103. Child, the body is cold. Don't play tricks on me. You have to know that it would be as easy for me to crush her to death as an ant. Don't be impulsive, we won't mess around. Ye Weiwei was afraid that Yahantian would suddenly hurt her child out of sheer thought. As a mother, she was really not willing to risk her child at all. Looking at Yezikin retreating step by step, Ye Weiwei stared at Yahantian closely, looking timid because he was worried about the child. Until Yezikin exited the door, Yahantian was slightly satisfied. Close the door and leave my sight. Yezikin slowly raised his hand and held the door handle. Ye Weiwei echoed, we agree to everything you said. At the same time, she took a step closer to Yahantian. Bang, the door closed. Yehantian breathed a huge sigh of relief. He glanced at the flustered Yeyi and smiled mockingly, because he felt that the remaining Yeyi had no threat to him. But just when Yehantian was relaxing, someone hit him the back. Yayoi took the opportunity to the child from his arms. While holding Mo Xiongnuan in his arms, the door suddenly opened. Yayoi held the child tightly and turned around to run away. It wasn't until Yezikin caught her that she felt at ease. Walk. Yezikin protected her and sent mother and daughter to the car downstairs. This was considered safe. In fact, they installed a portable camera at the door when they entered the house just now. Yezi is really worried about the child, but she has not really lost her ability to think, so she and Yezikin cooperate in a tacit understanding. When Yezikin exited and closed the door, the sound he made was to cover up the rescuer who came in through the window, so when that person took action against Yehantian, Ye was the only one able to take the child away in time. The child returned to her pregnancy. Ye Wei couldn't wait to look down at the child, and found that the child had his eyes closed, neither crying nor fussing, as if lifeless. When they receive the child, the first thing they do is take the child to the hospital for a physical examination. On the way, Yayoi tried to wake the child up. Baby. Warm. Deliberately putting aside bad thoughts, Yayoi comforted herself, of course Nuan can't answer me at such a young age. I'm so stupid. Even though she said this, she still stretched out her fingers tremblingly and approached the child's nose. Yezi's heart felt like it was stabbed suddenly, and it hurt so much that he couldn't speak. Because the child has no breath. No, it's impossible. Yewei shook her head as she muttered to herself, her facial expressions constantly changing, because her thoughts were now in a mess. Yezikin tried to take the child away from her hands. Give me the child. Yewei smiled and carefully put the child into his arms. Brother, look, our Nuan is very cute, right? She is so good. Yezikin came into contact with the child and truly felt that the child's temperature was cold. There was a deep sting in the eyes. As a father and husband, he cannot express all his emotions like Yewei. He tightened his hand, and his warm and thick palms dragged the child's body, showing his gentle care for the child. Well, our daughter is very well behaved. No one wants to face the real results. They still continued to go to the hospital. Doctor, look at this child. The doctor wanted to examine the child, but as soon as he looked at it or touched it, his expression changed. Yewei stared at the child closely, tears welling up in his eyes, but he couldn't hold them back. My daughter is healthy, right? End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 1104. Chapter 1104 The Only Despair at Night. I'm sorry, the child has. The doctor in a white coat apologized to her and bowed his head slightly. The atmosphere at the scene solidified. Yewei picked up the child and held it tightly in her arms. She coaxed the child with a gentle voice and smiled at her. Nuan, be good, mommy will take you to your brother and sister, and to Uncle Gu. He is so powerful. It will definitely make you as healthy as your brothers and sisters. The doctor, who bowed his head slightly, shook his head helplessly and sighed. He can understand the mood of such a mother. However, the child has lost his breath and even his body temperature is cold. Even the Deluo immortal cannot save him. Yewei wanted Gujinsi to rule, but Yezikin never objected to her from beginning to end. Yewei hugged the child and refused to let go. Brother, when Nuan's body recovers, let's take the 3 children home. I will obey your words. I won't go to work, and I won't go singing. I have to stay with my 3 babies every day. Brother, can you support our family of 5 by yourself? Of course, you can do anything as long as you want. He used gentle words to calm her anxiety and uneasiness. Unwilling to face the truth, Yeah, I chose to deceive himself. Yeah, as long as the three babies are doing well, I don't care about anything. The scenery she once wanted, the dream she once pursued, it wasn't until the moment her child was born that she truly realized the greatness of maternal love. She can ask for nothing but that her three babies can grow up in peace and happiness. Soon, they met with Gujinsi. Ye Wei held the child in front of Gujinsi. Gujinsi glanced back and met Yezikin's eyes. Yezikin lowered his eyes. Before coming, he had informed the child of his true condition. Gujinsi took the child calmly. Ye Wei denied the true situation. She sincerely asked Gujinsi, "Brother Gu, please help check Nuan's situation." Gujinsi held the child and felt the coldness directly. The child was not breathing and showed no signs of life. They followed Wei's desire to save the child and examined the child, but when he touched the examination instruments, they could no longer do anything. The child is already dead, how can they still bear to torment? Gujinsi returned the child to Wei and said only 4 words, "Sorry, my condolences. You're lying to me too, you're all lying to me, I don't want to listen." Wei shook his head, still unwilling to accept that fact. "I know, Brother Gu, although you have excellent medical skills, you are not necessarily proficient in pediatrics. Yes, I should find a professional pediatrician." Wei still refuses to face it. As soon as she turned around, Yezikin reached out to stop her. Gentle hands stretched out to her, Yezikin said, "Come, give me the child." Wei refused now. She shook her head in defense. "Xiao Li, Nuan is gone." "You're lying, I don't like this kind of joke. You see clearly, Nuan has no signs of life. This child was born with a hard life, do you want to continue to torture her?" "I don't, I just want to protect my daughter." "What's wrong with that?" After Wei refuted his words, he looked down at the child in his arms, trying his best to control his trembling words. "Don't be afraid, Nuan, wake up and see mommy, okay? Xiao Li, it's you who should wake up. Nuan is dead and it's impossible to wake up again. So, is it possible for Nuan's fate to be reversed?" End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 1105. Chapter 1105, Kneel down and ask for help, Nuan goes home. Why? Wei suddenly turned around and saw Gujinsi standing not far away. She knelt down directly on the ground regardless of everything. "I beg you, please save her, I beg you, please save her. She has just come into this world, her life has just begun, it will not end, and it cannot end. I beg you, save her." What a proud person in his heart, he kneels down without hesitation for the sake of his child. Even Gujinsi, who has always been indifferent, was deeply affected. Yezikin tried to pull her up, but as soon as he got close, Wei would strongly resist. "None of this matters. I beg you to save my child. I am willing to exchange everything for it." Gujinsi was deeply moved, but even though he was known as a medical genius, he could not revive the dead child. In the end, he could only remind Wei cruelly, recognize the reality clearly. He. A series of laughs burst from her mouth, and her eyes suddenly became wet with tears. "This is all I ask for. I don't want anything. I just want my 3 children to be safe and happy." Looking at the child in her arms, she babbled, "She has never lived a good day since she came into this world. I have never even looked into her eyes from beginning to end. But why is this happening? What have I done wrong to punish my daughter like this?" Wei's mood suddenly became excited. Yezikin, who was squatting on one knee in front of her, suddenly reached out and slashed behind her shoulder. She blinked feebly twice as she was in pain, and fell on Yezikin's arm. Yezikin turned slightly and said to Gujinsi, "Help me." Guchensi took the child away from Yewii's arms with understanding, while Yezikin held Yewii. They returned to the downtown area together. The sad news of Mo Xiongnuan's death soon spread to everyone's ears. Everyone who was looking forward to finding Mo Xiongnuan fell into sadness for a moment. They searched with great pains, even though they thought about the bad possibility, but when the bad news really came, they found it really difficult to face it. Even a child who is less than a month old is still alive. It's so pitiful that the child has suffered since birth. Yewei also said this, or it can be said that everyone thinks so. Mo Xiongnuan has been in an incubator since he was born. He has not had any contact with any relatives while living, and has never even opened his eyes to see his parents. This child's life is really miserable. Because of Mo Xiongnuan's death, almost everyone's heartache turned into love for the eldest and second child, and they protected the two children even more closely. They moved back to Ye's house, and Yewei did as he said, no longer interfering with the company's affairs, and no longer checking Weibo to see what results he got from his songs. She took care of the children wholeheartedly, but no matter what she did, as long as it was for the children, she would always prepare 3 copies. From the sleeping bed to daily necessities, including the room prepared in advance for the baby, everything is 3 copies. The eldest is a boy, and the room decoration is mainly blue. Once they discovered that the second child has a special liking for gold and yellow items, so they decorated the second child's room with beige and warm light tones. As for the other room, Ye only chose pink. Because she has been trapped in the death of her third daughter and cannot extricate herself. She still refused to admit it and did not dare to look directly at Mo Xiongnuan's death. My warmth will come back. Please remember the second half of the title and the last sentence in the article. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 1106. Chapter 1106. She has a pair of pure and flawless eyes. On the day Yehantian was sentenced, Yewei went there in person. When they first found Mo Xiongnuan, they searched the room where Yehantian had lived and found the ticket. Is the air ticket to go abroad? When writing the notes, Yehantian himself confessed, I plan to go abroad. Yehantian said that he originally planned to go abroad, but because his child fell ill during the trip, he had to take his child to the hospital. Yewei asked at that time, why didn't you let the doctor treat her? Why did you take her away? Ha ha ha. Yehantian, who had already understood the current situation, was too lazy to deny his crime. He admitted generously, I took the child away, that's right. But he not only admitted his fault, but also imposed the final mistake on them who were determined to save their children. Yehantian deliberately taunted, who made you pursue me so hard? If you hadn't insisted on finding me, maybe there would have been enough time for the doctors to treat her, and maybe she would have survived. In the final analysis, it is all because of your own persistence that you cut off the chance to save the child's life. It is you who caused the child's death. Yehantian's revenge is crazy. He himself is willing to go to hell, and no one can bring him back. It's just that Yewei doesn't want Yehantian to go to jail for the crime of kidnapping a child to death, because rather than punishing Yehantian, she hopes that her child can live safely. Yehantian was imprisoned again, this time sentenced to life. He lost all his relatives and friends. Yehantian did not struggle or resist when he was brought in, as if he had already determined his fate. In the end, only Yezikin went to see him. Having been a father and son for more than 20 years, I know very well what kind of person the other person is. The two looked at each other through the glass. Yehantian had a deep expression and the corners of his mouth were stiff. Yezikin's eyes were dark and there was no smile on his face. He wanted to get an answer from Yehantian, Why did you take her away if you didn't want to hurt her? Judging from everything that happened later, Yahantian planned to take Mo Xiongnuan abroad to a distant place, but he went to the hospital instead. According to Yahantian's IQ, he certainly understood that going to the hospital was tantamount to throwing himself into a trap, so in the end they were able to find him in the community because Yahantian knew that he had lost the moment he turned around and went to the hospital. You want to know why I dug my own grave after finally getting out of prison? Yes. Now that it's happened, let me tell you the truth. Yahantian sighed softly. When that child first came out of the incubator, I wanted to strangle her to death. If she is not a descendant of my family, what is her value? Hearing Yahantian's crazy words, Yezikin's face remained calm. Yahantian smiled. As expected, she was raised by my family. She is so cold-blooded. My own daughter died without any sadness. Yezikin turned a blind eye to Yahantian's sarcasm. He asked, what made you change your mind about taking her abroad? I wanted to use her death to take revenge on you, but the child actually opened it. She opened her eyes and looked at me. Those eyes, you know how clean those eyes are, as if I saw them for the first time. When Qianhui was young, she was so pure and flawless. Yahantian narrowed his eyes and slowly opened them. He stood up and left. Yahantian was taken away, still talking crazy words. What a pity, what a pity. His crazy laughter echoed for a long time. It's a pity those eyes. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 1107. Chapter 1107. Li Yulai goes abroad for training, half a year. There is a new email sent from above, please download it and take a look. Okay. For the police, the words from their superiors were instructions. They immediately started downloading and reviewing the documents. Only Gong Qinli sat there staring at the computer screen in trance. Qinli. The partner next to her pushed her and reminded her, why are you distracted at work again? Gong Qinli changed her sitting position and shook her head, what are you looking at? Let's download the file. Oh, thank you. Colleagues asked with concern, what's going on with you recently? You're absent-minded at work. Did something happen? Putting her elbows on the table and rubbing her eyebrows with her fingers, Gong Qinli's voice was much lower than usual, I've been a little upset lately. I'm sorry, I will adjust it as soon as possible. Take care of yourself and let me know if you need help. Thanks. She has indeed been a little out of sorts recently, mainly because all the things that happened during this period were unexpected to her. Fang Yu died, Zhonyun became pregnant, and Nangong Luo got married. The continuous bombardment of these three events alone made her heart scarred. Finally, the only happy event of giving birth to triplets one night brought her some joy, but the youngest poor child died early. All things added together more than doubled the original sadness. These things have been bothering her. These days, she deliberately avoided those people because she was really afraid that she would not be able to help but do something. Ratching her hair, Gong Qinli clicked on the download file. Click on the beginning to see what kind of training-related documents it is. Anyway, it would definitely not be her turn as a newcomer to get the benefits. She took a quick tour and didn't take it to heart. Until her superiors found her to talk to. This training is mainly for newcomers, because new talents are the new strength injected. Gong Qinli heard a lot of official words. She really wanted to rub her ears, but she couldn't make a mistake in front of her boss. You mean to ask me to attend training? It's like this time the quota has come down, and we have one in our bureau. Ordinarily for a new person, you will be an intern for 1 year, but you will not be able to serve for more than 1 year. You also have experience in assisting in case handling, so we think it is most appropriate to recommend you to go. This is a rare opportunity. If you are lucky, you may not just be a small policeman in the future. As police officers who serve the people, they can hold many positions. Perhaps some people want to have a stable job, and some people want to rush to the front to serve the people, but who doesn't want to climb higher? Gong Qinli has no objection. Thank you, director, for giving me this opportunity. I will definitely work hard. Okay, then go back and get ready. We will arrange for you to go abroad together. Going abroad? Gong Qinli was stunned when she heard the last sentence. Isn't that training? Why are you going abroad again? Gong Qinli asked this question well, but the director was stunned for a moment. Didn't you read the relevant content in the document? Gong Qinli blinked. She was embarrassed to say that she didn't care, and then lied. Maybe, there were too many words at the time, and I missed it. I'm sorry. The director put one hand behind his back and pointed to the paper document next to the computer with one hand. Look at it. Going abroad for training, half a year. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 1108. Chapter 1108. Let's go, get out of here. You can't go back to China without any reason during the training period. Think about it carefully. This is a rare opportunity. Director, give me some time. Gong Qinli opened the document again after going out. She saw the long list written on the document, which was written in black and white very clearly. Learn about foreign police systems, law enforcement communication skills, criminal case investigation and public security management, etc. But these are not important. The important thing is the latter requirement. It is a closed training, and within half a year, you still need to submit a report and apply to your superiors when you return to your country. If she agrees, this will be a long time. Alas. In the past, when she was unsure about paying attention, she would go to Nangong Luo or Ye Wei to discuss it, but judging from the current situation, it was impossible for both of them. What is the relationship between Nangong Luo and her? She feels unwilling when she thinks of that man now. The reason why the wallpaper is gone is because I am afraid that I will not be able to bear it and reveal everything, which will cause trouble for the entire Gong family and Nangong family. And what about Ye Wei? There are enough things that bother Ye Zi. Postpartum depression has not been completely cured. She is now at home with her 2 children every day, and almost no one bothers her with anything. So, in summary, she can only think about it herself. When she came home from get off work and saw her little cousin rolling on the ground, she really wanted to kick her. But seeing that young and handsome face, she put away her thoughts of bullying him and said, "Can you, what are you doing, cleaning the floor? I don't know where my little cousin got this habit. He doesn't sleep on the soft big bed. When he plays, he sits on the floor. Occasionally he lies down and rolls around twice. He sums it up in 2 words, comfortable." In the end, she gently reached out and picked up her little cousin from the ground, and asked, "Can you, if my sister goes away for half a year, will you miss me?" The little cousin immediately grasped the key points. "Sister, are you going to another place?" Gong Qinli shrugged, "I don't know, I'm still confused." When the little cousin heard that something was wrong, he quickly grabbed Gong Qinli and sat down on the sofa. "Sister, tell me what's going on." Gong Qinli thought for a while, turned out the document page and showed it to him. "Can you read?" The little cousin picked up the phone and almost fainted when he saw the dense black text on it. "Sister, you know I don't like reading Chinese the most. Why do you say this way? There are so many Chinese words. This kind of long text is just terrible." "Forget it." Gong Qinli stretched out her hand to take the phone back. "I'll look at it again." The little cousin suddenly held back, forcing himself to read the long paragraph seriously. Then the little cousin's expression gradually changed. "Sister, are you going abroad for half a year?" Ye. Gong Qinli nodded. The little cousin's expression suddenly became serious. He was silent for a while, looked up at Gong Qinli, and said a word of approval to her in a serious voice, "Sister, you go ahead." Huh, this puzzled Gonkin Lee. Suddenly you are so serious, it feels like you are not you anymore. Sister, I'm serious, you go ahead. Can you give me a reason? Anyway, if you're not happy here, why not change your environment and mood, just go out and relax, it's only for half a year, and you won't see her forever. Why are you talking about great truths all of a sudden? Humph, anyway, you go out, I support it. He wouldn't say it because Nangong Lugo was married. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 1109. Chapter 1109. The relationship between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law of the Nangong family. I'm leaving. Gonkin Lee stood up with a look of reluctance. Goodbye. The little cousin waved to her, as if he didn't miss her at all. Gonkin Lee turned around and snatched her phone back, smiling at him. Oh, you said it so cheerfully, it seems you won't miss me anymore. You are stupid, there is a video. The little cousin suddenly grew up and no longer relied on his own ideas to ask others casually, but learned to consider from the direction of others. Now everyone knows that Nangong Lugo is marrying Zhong Yun, the eldest daughter of the Zhong family. This matter has become a foregone conclusion, and even the younger cousin has received the news. The little cousin hides a secret in his heart, but he will not tell anyone about it. It was after he learned that Nangong Lugo was married to another woman that he wanted to find Nangong Lugo to find out. However, he did not see Nangong Lugo, but saw Zhong Yun in Nangong Lugo's room. Zhong Yun was very kind to him and kept asking him what he needed. At that time, he asked Zhong Yun about his relationship with Nangong Lugo. Zhong Yun told him, in a short time, your brother Lugo will be a father. It was then that he learned that Nangong Lugo was not only married, but also had a child with another woman. He did not wait for Nangong Lugo any longer because he felt it was no longer necessary. This matter was hurtful to Gonkin Lee, so he could only keep it as a secret in his heart. Those who seem ignorant at ordinary times may not necessarily mean they are really ignorant. Children's thoughts are also very pure. He knows who is good and who is bad. Just because he knew that Nangong Lugo loved Gonkin Lee very much and was very good to him, that's why he always wanted Nangong Lugo and Gonkin Lee to be together. But now, the choice made by Nangong Lugo makes Gonkin Lee sad, so he will not deliberately match up anymore. It is too late. Sister, it's good to go out and change your mood. After half a year, any unwillingness or unhappiness will have almost dissipated. But Gonkin Lee feels that she is still a little unwilling to leave like this. There is still one person left to start the training, but they still have to go through the process of submitting recommendations. The director only gave her 3 days to think about it. The original intention was to let her negotiate with her family. In fact, her hesitation has nothing to do with her family, because as her little cousin said, half a year is really nothing to her family. The only thing that restrained her steps was feelings. On 2 days off, Gonkin Lee stayed in her bedroom for a whole day, and then packed a lot of things into a strong cardboard box. She probably wanted to be pretentious again and return all the things Nangong Lugo gave him. On Sunday, she personally delivered the things to Nangong's house. Because she has a close relationship with the Nangong family, she can come and go freely without notification. I was surprised to see a very eye-catching scene. Mrs. Nangong and Zhong Yun were sitting together and talking about their children. They seemed to have a very warm relationship between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. Gonkin Lee didn't know what her state of mind was, so she hid behind to peek and listen. She was really tired of Zhong Yun nagging Mrs. Nangong about Nangong Lugo's daily life. Gonkin Lee handed the box containing the things to the housekeeper and left a few words for Nangong Lugo. After doing this, she went to visit Mr. Nangong. Mr. Nangong lives at home to recuperate, basically lying in bed. Gong Qinli went to see him, and the first thing she did was apologize to him. "Grandpa, I'm sorry, I'm going to break my promise. Luli is leaving." End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 1110. Chapter 1110 The Real White Lotus. On working days, Gong Qinli submitted a training application form to the director during work, saying, "I am willing to go abroad to participate in a half-year training." Soon, the following review approved it, and it became a certainty that she would go abroad for training. Gong Qinli suddenly breathed a sigh of relief when she saw the red seal on the application form. Yesterday, she packed and returned the things Nangong Luo had given her before. Unexpectedly, Nangong Luo called her and asked her why she did this. She replied in a very calm tone, "If you can't pick it up, you have to learn to let it go." This sentence is her warning to herself. But what she didn't know was that this sentence was also a warning to Nangong Luo. Some truths become irreparable mistakes because they dare not speak out. After the matter was finalized, Gong Qinli told her family about her decision. No one objected, and her younger cousin was the most supportive. For the rest of the week, she started saying goodbye to her friends, but told them not to tell anyone because she didn't want anyone to know. The day Gong Qinli got her ticket was the day she was leaving. The whole family came to see her off, especially her little cousin who had been the most supportive before and burst into tears regardless of her image. She regretfully shouted at her not to leave. Gong Qinli bent down slightly to look at him levelly. "Qin you have grown up and are no longer a child. A man bleeds but does not shed tears. Put your tears away and don't cry." The little cousin sniffed and pursed his lips. His aggrieved look was really cute. She has to leave after all. The cell phone in her backpack rang. She took it out and saw that the note was the word only. Ye Wei was originally going to come, but the weaker brother Yezhiruo suddenly caught a cold, so Ye Wei could only stay with the child in the hospital every step of the way. But the only one who called her late at night was to see her off. Those who have become mothers know how to be more considerate of people's hearts. They feel sorry for her in words, but more importantly, they hope that she will take good care of herself and wish her good results in the training. I have been working outside for 2 years and have rich experience, I know this. But when you... Okay, my only baby, I can take care of myself. You have to take good care of my godson and goddaughter, and wait for me to come back and play with them. Gong Qinli used a pretending to be relaxed tone to interrupt the only past that Ye wanted to mention. The only thing Ye wants to say is that when Gong Qinli went to school for 2 years, she was accompanied by Nangong Luo, but now that she is abroad, she is really alone. "Have you, brother Nangong, gone today?" "You mean Nangong Luo?" Gong Qinli smiled. At this point, I directly told Ye the truth. Actually, I didn't let him know at all. She said goodbye to many people and asked them to keep it secret. In fact, she didn't want Nangong Luo to know. Ye Wei sighed and ended the call. Looking at the time on the phone, he calculated that there was still half an hour until Gong Qinli's flight. Hand slid on the phone involuntarily until he clicked on Nangong Luo's number. She called, but no one answered the first time. The second time I got through, a female voice came over the phone. It was Zhong Yun. Just as she was about to hang up, Zhong Yun spoke. "Mrs. Ye, do you want to tell Luo about Miss Gong?" Ye Wei didn't really want to talk to her. Zhong Yun said directly, "Today is the time for Miss Gong to go abroad, so you call Luo and want to tell him. You know. Mrs. Ye, please let Luo go." Please enjoy Zhonglian Hua's performance. End of this chapter.